Welcome to The Eye Opener. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. The Washington Post has decided to rewrite all of its articles about the Steele dossier, correcting the errors in reporting. An FBI whistleblower claims to have proof the DOJ is targeting parents who speak out at school board meetings. Tanner Cross, the teacher suspended for speaking out against transgenderism, has won his court case and been reinstated in his former school. And a Chinese dissident has a warning for Americans. He believes America is in a quasi-authoritarian state. Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, Americans have seen their freedoms decimated by power-hungry politicians and bureaucrats. This worrisome culture trend has caused deep concern among immigrants who once lived under the centralized rule of socialism and communism. As America's education system fell almost completely to the forces of the communist far left, an increasingly decadent left-leaning culture and toxic philosophy grew in higher education. Young people began to embrace socialism, which worried Republican Representative-elect Victoria Spartz, who grew up in the Soviet-controlled Ukraine. I'm going full circle in my 42 years of life. It's unbelievable for me. She told Fox News, "Of all the countries in the world, our country put so much against this utopian socialist idea that it's crazy for me to see how quickly we made the turn to the left." Now, Weiwei, a dissident and artist from China, believes that the system in the US is a quasi-authoritarian state. Americans just don't know it. He claimed that during the Cultural Revolution, Mao's directives were publicly distributed every night through all levels of CCP. When the host wanted Ai Weiwei to condemn Trump, he said he didn't think Trump was a dictator or an authoritarian.
Do you see Donald Trump as an authoritarian?
I don't, if you're authoritarian, you have to have a system in supporting you. You cannot just be authoritarian by yourself. But certainly in United States, with today's condition, you can easily have an authoritarian. In many ways, you're already in the authoritarian state. You just don't know it.
He also pointed to the supposed pressure on American society to be politically correct, which he said was very dangerous, and compared it to the Cultural Revolution in China. An internal FBI email revealed that the agency was already using anti-terrorism tools to monitor and investigate parents of individuals who allegedly threatened school board members, teachers, or other staff. Republicans said this information is inconsistent with Attorney General Merrick Garland's congressional testimony. The email was obtained by House Republicans from an FBI whistleblower. The email, signed by FBI Assistant Director for Counterterrorism, Timothy Langan, said that counterterrorism and criminal divisions had created a threat tag to use by FBI officials. The email instructs agents working on counterterrorism to monitor threats against school board members, teachers, and staff nationwide to determine if the threats violate federal law, in line with Garland's October 4th memo. Representative Jim Jordan, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, disclosed the email to Garland in a letter he wrote to him on Tuesday, raising serious questions about the accuracy of the testimony Garland gave to Congress last month. The email obtained from the whistleblower was sent the day before Garland's October 21st testimony. Garland said at the time that is not what the memorandum is about at all, nor does it use the words domestic terrorism or Patriot Act. Like you, I can't imagine a circumstance in which the Patriot Act would be used in the circumstances of parents complaining about their children, nor can I imagine a circumstance where they would be labeled as domestic terrorism. In his letter, Jim Jordan wrote to Garland, "If, however, you were aware of the FBI's actions at the time of your testimony, this evidence shows that you willfully misled the committee about the nature and extent of the department's use of federal counterterrorism tools to target concerned parents at school board meetings. Garland's congressional testimony was deceptive." An FBI spokesman responded Tuesday that the Bureau has never investigated parents who made statements or conducted oversight of statements made at school board meetings, and that they don't intend to start now. The FBI's one mission is to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution. There are dual and simultaneous, and not one at the expense of the other, the spokesperson said. We are fully committed to preserving and protecting First Amendment rights, including freedom of speech. The FBI's focus is on violence and threats of violence that potentially violate federal law. But House Judiciary Republicans called the whistleblower disclosures direct evidence that federal law enforcement was using anti-terrorism resources against parents at the behest of left-wing special interest groups. They were referring to the letter sent weeks ago by the National School Board Association linking parents concerned about school programs to domestic terrorists. Northern Virginia teacher Tanner Cross, who was suspended from his school, said on Tuesday he will continue to provide a safe educational environment for all students after his school district agreed with a permanent injunction. They will not retaliate against him for his criticism of a pro-transgender policy called 8040. Cross of Leesburg Elementary School criticized Policy 8040 at a school board meeting in May, saying, "I am a teacher, but serve God first. I will not affirm that a biological boy can be a girl and vice versa because it's against my religion. It's lying to a child. It's abuse to a child. It is sinning against our God." In response, the school suspended him from teaching, and Cross sued the school district over the suspension. A judge has now ruled in his favor. As part of the legal settlement, the school board, Loudoun County Superintendent Scott Ziegler, and interim Assistant Superintendent Lucia Villa-Sebastian agreed to pay his $20,000 legal fees and remove any reference of the suspension from his record. Policy number 8040, Transgender and Gender Extended Student Rights policy, requires school staff to refer to students by their preferred pronouns, to open activities to students based on their gender identity, allow students to use facilities appropriate to their gender identity, and complete relevant training. As a direct result of this policy, there was a widespread outrage from parents after a case of a transgender student raping a female student in the girls' bathroom at a Loudoun County school. After winning his case, Cross said he was happy to be back with his students and hoped that other teachers felt as confident as he did about the huge victory, encouraging them to go to bat for their students. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has proposed a $25 million investment in the restoration of Miami's Freedom Tower. The historic building, also known as the Ellis Island of the South, where Cuban refugees first received help from the U.S. government after leaving the communist island. DeSantis said the money would be used as part of his legislation budget proposal. The 96-year-old tower needs urgent structural repairs, but the money will also be used to redesign the exhibits to welcome more visitors. Hundreds of thousands of people came right through here, the Freedom Tower in Miami, to be able to have a chance at freedom, DeSantis said. We need to be good stewards of this history. On the same day, Cuban activists plan to hold a march to demand that authorities release those arrested on July 11th and the 12th. In July, thousands of Cubans took to the streets to protest power cuts, shortages, high prices, and condemnation of the government. The Biden administration then announced new sanctions against Cuba's National Revolutionary Police and two of its top officials as the U.S. looks to increase pressure on the communist government. The current rally was banned by the Cuban government, but organizers still urged people to demonstrate. DeSantis accused the Biden administration of lacking concrete support for Cuban activists after the July demonstration. A teacher who is suing a Missouri school district for forcing her to use CRT training materials says she fears the district is trying to create barriers between parents and their children and discouraging educators from imposing discipline for infractions. Brooke Henderson tried to force the Springfield, Missouri school district to drop the CRT training materials. Teachers are told that they could be engaging in oppressive or white supremacist behavior if they insist on using English in the classroom or call the police on black suspects. She sued the school district for this. She feared that the training materials would seriously affect teachers' curriculum by distorting facts, portraying adults as oppressors, and teaching children not to trust their parents in order to undermine parental authority. It is also too bad that key American institutions like the church are portrayed as being part of a cycle of oppression. The immediate effect on teachers in training is that they become more reluctant to discipline students, even those who are unruly or behaving badly. I think across the board, it sends a message. Not only do we not call the police, we don't discipline students for inappropriate behavior, she said. And so now teachers are afraid to discipline any student for inappropriate behavior. And I think across the nation, you'll hear teachers saying the same thing, that discipline is a concern because nobody wants to be called a white supremacist. Nobody wants to be seen as a racist. Senator Chuck Grassley, the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and Senator Ron Johnson, the ranking member of the Parliament Subcommittee on Investigations, wrote a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland on November 15th. The letter stated that the Justice Department's claims about whether or not special surveillance tools were used on Hunter Biden's former Chinese business partners are contradictory and asked Garland to correct them. The senators released a bank document signed in 2018 detailing the direct business relationship between Hunter Biden and Dong Gongwen, a Chinese national that has ties with the CCP, and their respective companies. In March, responding to the senators seeking intelligence records related to the Biden family's business partners, the Justice Department said it could not confirm the existence of such material. However, in a 2018 public court filing, the department said it intends to use information collected under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, related to Patrick Ho, a former business partner of Hunter Biden. Ho, who has links to the CCP and its intelligence services, was convicted of international bribery and money laundering for his work with a Chinese energy company linked to the communist regime. The existence of the information obtained under the FISA warrant suggests that he may have posed a counterintelligence threat. Last year, Hunter's laptop left in a computer repair shop revealed secret information about Hunter's private life and business dealings. However, he was on the Justice Department's radar long before the 2020 presidential election. In a 2018 court filing, the DOJ stated its intention to collect information under a FISA warrant on one of Hunter's many foreign business associates. Chi Ping, or Patrick Ho, who has ties to the Chinese Communist Party's intelligence services under the standards set forth in the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Hunter has close ties to Patrick Ho. In December 2017, he was charged with international bribery and money laundering offenses. His first phone call after his arrest was reportedly to James Biden, President Biden's brother. The two senators said that based on the extensive relationship between Hunter and individuals associated with the communist regime, a request was made for all intelligence records relating to Patrick Ho and other individuals, including, but not limited to, all FISA-derived information. Now, Grassley and Johnson are asking the DOJ to clarify its claims. Both claims can't be true. Either the July 12, 2021 statement is true, the department did not know whether it possessed the relevant material, or the February 8, 2018 statement is true. The department knew for a fact that it possessed the relevant material. Therefore, there must be a statement that is false. They asked the DOJ to formally respond to their letter no later than November 22nd and to correct inaccurate public records and clarify confusing claims about counterintelligence measures taken by the U.S. against the Biden family's past business partners. The two most important Washington Post articles that were completely rewritten were by Rosalind Heidemann and Tom Hamburger in March 2017 and February 2019. The paper's executive editor, Sally Busby, said the Post could no longer stand by the stories. According to the Steele dossier, which identifies businessman Sergei Milyan as Source D claimed Russian intelligence learned that Trump hired Russian prostitutes to wreck a Moscow hotel room where President Obama and Michelle Obama once stayed, and had a video of the incident. The dossier stated the allegation was corroborated by another person described only as Source E, but was never actually confirmed. The Steele dossier, commissioned by a research firm hired by a lawyer for Hillary Clinton's campaign, provided the liberal media with countless anti-Trump headlines and cable news clips and helped set the tone for years of rabid Russiagate coverage. Hamburger and Heidemann were part of a gaggle of reporters for the Washington Post and the New York Times. They were surprisingly awarded the highest honor in journalism, the Pulitzer Prize, for this fiasco of reporting. It completely violated journalistic ethics, and the award was given for in-depth sourcing, relentless reporting in the public interest, and greatly contributed to the national understanding of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. And it ties to the Trump campaign, the president-elect's transition team, and ultimately the administration. The negative impact this had on legacy media outlets were irreparable. And in the case of the Pulitzer Prize, in addition to the lack of rigorous vetting, the authors who distorted the facts were rewarded, which in turn triggered more of the same fake news and encouraged other media outlets to use such utterly corrupt tactics for similar honors, thus completely discrediting the prize. In the present time of factual truth, distorted reports in the media are as worthless as used paper towels. The cold hard truth is that none of the major media outlets are blameless in the collective fallout of this story. Many journalists were skeptical of the dossier, but they hesitated to stick to honorable news principles because they didn't want to look like they were in the Trump camp. A major media reshuffle has begun, and those mainstream news organizations that uncritically promoted the Steele dossier will surely pay the price for their unethical degradation and for their notorious fake news. And those news outlets that uphold the principles of ethical journalism and provide independent, thorough examination of the Steele dossier story will do their audience a great service and give themselves a promising future. And that's it for today, my friends. Check out the playlist right here for more eye-opening content. You can join me in the Eye Opener Telegram chat room and follow me on Newmaker, Gab, Parler, and Getter. And don't forget, please sign up to the email list so that we can stay in touch. I'd like to thank you all, and I'll see you next time.